Hey guys, Dylan Allen here for another training update. Last week was a high note, actually. It was really nice. We got in 4.5 hours of time spent training, which is the first time we've gotten that much since the beginning of November. So with the first week of November, we got 5 hours in. But we also got 2 days in the gym in too, lifting. We did the ballista workout one day and a full body workout another day. So last week was really successful, in my opinion. We're getting used to spending some time on the bike, and it was kind of broken up in some 2 days, that kind of thing, just because of scheduling stuff, which accounted for some of the extra training. But we spent 22 minutes in the pool, so there's only one short, 1,000 yard, not quite a kilometer, a little more than a kilometer, 1,000 yard swim. We spent 2.5 hours on the bike total, though. We did nothing. We didn't do a long ride. Still a little hesitant, just like hop on the bike and go ride for 2 hours, just because it's a new modality. I don't want to go nuts. I may do it later this week, depending on how things are going. But we got to run for a total of an hour and a half. It was broken up into little chunks. So Monday we did a 15-minute warm up, and then on the bike before lifting, and then we also did a half-hour ride in the morning on the bike. So total 45 minutes, but it's kind of broken up. But we've been keeping it, at easy effort range according to my heart rate, and spinning at roughly 100 RPMs and hovering right around 250 to 260 watts, depending on the day, and which feels fine. I could focusing on pulling the foot up, so we're engaging the hamstrings. More so than just pushing through the quads on the way down. Though we're still using that posterior chain like we want to for running. We don't really need a ton of quad oomph for what we're training for right now. And then we lifted. We did the ballista workout. And we took it a little easy on the ballista workout. We did a few fewer reps on the step-ups and the twisting lunges than I would normally do. And for the step-ups, we used a shorter box than normal. Just, again, kind of being careful with that kind of deep hip flexion, which is what started this whole hip issue off. Tuesday, we came around. I did an easy half hour on the bike. And then getting off the bike, I did an easy mile on the treadmill. So that way, one, it was flat and stable. Two, if I needed to, I could bail at any time, right? Because I was on the treadmill, I just got to step off. And then we also did that 22-minute swim that afternoon while my daughter was at swim practice. It was pretty good. It was actually a little longer than that. I think it was 11:50, maybe. Lost count. I was moving right along. Been moving. I've noticed over the last couple weeks, spending a little bit of time on the bike and in the pool, that the pace I'm going at is kind of picking up for the effort level. Like, the motor pathways are becoming a little better. They're just getting a little more efficient with power output, that kind of thing. Then Wednesday, we lifted again. Spent 15 minutes on the bike to warm up to lift. And then we also ran for 24 minutes. And I think that was the day, right, that was Wednesday morning. So that was the 5 a.m. speed session. That was the first thing we did that day. And we did like an easy mile, almost 2 miles. It was 1.75. Just kind of getting warmed up, and then I did 4 200s. Not really 200s, but kind of just picking the tempo up a little bit. Working on the turnover rate for 200 meters, and then easing off. Just kind of working on some biomechanics, not trying to push real hard. And so I ended up getting an even 3 miles in. And I walked a little bit of a cool down, and it was cold, but it felt okay. I was a little stiff afterwards, although I think it was a little early for that kind of stuff. I just wasn't quite ready for it yet, and my lower back, the lumbar side of on the right side there, got a little tight just trying to stabilize everything as a result of doing this speed work. So I was a little stiff the next day, but later that day I did, I got warmed up on the bike and I lifted, and that felt okay. Nothing crazy, and then on Thursday, we did 46 minutes on the bike. We did 40 minutes easy and then a 5-minute push, and I kind of lost track of time. Just kind of watching my heart rate and the push and that kind of thing. So we ended up getting an extra minute, just kind of winding down on the tail end. But it felt pretty comfortable to push it, forgot how hard we were going. But we got the heart rate up a little bit, 170, 175. And it was nice to get some, quote unquote, quality work in. And then after that, we, right after getting done with that 5 minutes threshold, we got on the treadmill for another mile. And we did it at about 8:30 pace. So not crazy, but just enough to kind of get moving. And it felt okay. We kind of sped it up a little bit as we were going, just kind of started at like 8:30 pace and then slowly bumped it up. I think we finished at like 7:50 pace or something like that, maybe. Nothing crazy. And then Friday, I did 2 miles on the grass. And I was at about 1.5 miles. I was starting feeling my the lumbar on the right side tightening up. And I didn't really think about this ahead of time. My initial thought was, oh yeah, I'll go run on the grass. It'll be soft, less impact, But because it's not flat, it kind of does this as you're running. Just required a little more of that lateral stabilization out of my hip and my lower back. And so it got a little tight. So it probably wasn't the smartest idea in retrospect. But it made sense at the time because it was soft, right? But we did it. We got 2 miles in, and we're moving right along. I think I averaged 7:08 a mile. So and it felt great. Effort level wise, is super easy, especially coming off, 45 minutes on the bike, plus an easy mile, plus lifting the day before. I was turning over. It felt good. And then Saturday, I was a little stiff getting out to the lake to go coaching, and it felt okay. At this point, I'd gotten to the point where accelerating is uncomfortable, but once I'm up to speed, it feels okay. As long as I'm not on a funky surface or going downhill or something like that. And so I ran for about 10 minutes, and then I stopped to talk to one of my runners because he showed up late. And I was just staying on the paved path around the lake. I wasn't running on trails. But when I started running again, it was slight downhill from just where I happened to be, and I was starting to accelerate. And so the first few steps were a little uncomfortable. But then I finished up. I just kept it at an even 3. I could tell the lumbar was getting tight. It was a little uncomfortable. So, but yeah, it wasn't 7:45 pace. I was not moving fast at all. And then Sunday, I got out and got up to the Lambright and did 20 minutes on the bike, which according to the bike translates to roughly 10 miles. And then spent 10 minutes running. And that run, if I recall correctly, was at the track. Yeah, I ran 1.5 miles, quote unquote, easy at the track. So what I really did was I got down off the stationary bike at the Lambright and got in the car, or I think I walked down. Yeah. I went to the track. It's right across the street. And I ran roughly 800 meters easy, just kind of getting moving, getting the mechanics going. And it was okay. It was pretty warm out. It was pushing 70 degrees. And there was a south wind. It was pretty strong. So when you're running into the wind, just kind of couldn't really breathe. And it was going the speed where if it's a tailwind, you just feel stagnant. It wasn't good running conditions. And so the heart rate was a little high. But I ran 800 meters and felt okay. And so I picked it up for about 800 meters. Not too crazy, but just dropping it down a little bit. We got down to roughly 6-minute pace, threshold effort for about 800 meters. And it felt okay. I could tell I shouldn't do a ton of it, so after 800 meters or so, I scaled it back and did an easy 800. And I think mechanically, that third 800, it was, because I was running slower, it was just a little more up and down, you know, like the mechanics weren't as smooth. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this before or noticed it, but it's easier to have good mechanics when you're going fast, right? And so for right now, the trick is to have really good mechanics without so much force from the glute and the lower back that it's cranking that SI joint for me. So I think when I slowed down, especially coming out of that, like actually running at roughly 6-minute pace for the first time in several weeks, I think my mechanics were just a little stiff, and so I was just kind of jamming that right heel a little bit on impact, probably. Maybe not my heel, but jamming that hip because the leg is stiff, trying to protect that low back and hip, and that didn't really feel super great. But all in all, it was a good week. You know, I meant to do more on Monday than I did, but we had terrible weather in. Long story, I'll tell you about it next week. But all in all, last week, from December 9th through the 15th, we got 4 hours and 27 minutes of time spent doing, you know, quote unquote aerobic training, you know, between swimming, biking, and running. And then we got roughly another hour in of time at the gym. This week's not going to happen. My daughter's been sick, so I've been on Kid Dale at home, and yeah. So sometimes life throws a wrench into the works with training regimes, but I did go to the track workout this morning at 5 a.m. and I did 4 400s and they felt great. Not blazing fast, but it's a good week so far. So, till next time, train smart.